Alright, so in this lesson, I'm going to walk you through the process step by step of inserting additional properly formatted elements into the body of your HTML document. Now, this is part one of elements placed in the body of a web page. So in order to complete the assessment at the end of this lesson, it's provided as a PDF on the page. So as long as you can print that out and utilize it with a pen, you're fine. To follow along with the lesson, you'll need to be using codepen.io, as I'm using here, or a text editing software application such as Notepad++, or even regular just Notepad if you're using Windows. So to start off, we're going to begin with the elements that are visible to site visitors. So elements that are in the body of your HTML document. Now, something to note in what you're seeing up here as far as the code is concerned. The CodePen does not require you to put a doc type or a head area for your page, or even HTML tags to display content, because anything that you place in the HTML area is assumed to be within the body of your page because it's being immediately displayed down below. I've added the body tag just for the purpose of semantics, so we know where we are placing these tags within which area. Let's go ahead and start. Let's take a look at headings within the body tag. Headings provide structure to content, levels of importance, as far as meaning is concerned. Now, you can use CSS or font styles to make fonts on the page look like this, have different sizes, have different levels of boldness or emphasis, size, spacing, so on and so forth. But that's not proper HTML. The way to do so is to specify H and the number following. Now, there are only 6 levels of headings in HTML. There is not an H7. If you have most pages will not use more than heading level 3. If you're getting beyond heading level 3, it's probably a good practice to look at your content and determine whether or not it would be beneficial to separate the content into different HTML documents and stay within that 3 heading level method. It's just a best practice. It seems to be the easiest. Because the heading levels get pretty small in the 4th, 5th, and 6th level by design, unless you specifically change their style with cascading style sheets. It is still valid to use headings all the way up to 6 if you do have legitimately 6 sub sections of content and levels of importance. But it would be very rare, I think, to have a page that would have all of that without being a very long page, and would probably need to be broken up into multiple pages to be more usable. So each successive heading level is intended to communicate the importance of that segment of content on a decreasing scale as the heading number increases. Therefore, H2 content is more important on the page than H3 content, and so on. For accessibility's sake, it is important that you do not ever skip heading levels, like an H3 directly within an H1 with no H2 in between them. Also, very important, you can only have one H1 tag per HTML document. Heading level 1 is intended to be the meaning, purpose, and topic of the entire HTML page. If you have more than one H1 tag, then that confuses a whole host of different softwares as well as individuals using screen readers and trying to navigate via headings. So here we have an example of heading 1 through 6, and you can see what those look like without any styling displayed on the page below. The next tag I'm going to look at is the paragraph tag, or P. P stands for paragraph. So notice I've placed in between the opening and closing tag content. So this is a paragraph of text. So when we look at the way that displays on a page, that's right here. So without styling, it will be in the Times New Roman font and will be about 12 points in size, typically. So a paragraph tag is nothing exciting. It simply indicates this is a paragraph. It does create a space above and below the text, wherever the tags are placed. Important also, all heading tags have closing tags. Paragraph tags have closing tags as well. So next is the anchor or A tag. So it starts here. The A tag is primarily used to create hyperlinks, or just links on a web page. Now, the attribute most used in the A tag to reference the web address to which you want to link is the href attribute. So all attributes have the attribute, an equal sign, and then a value between double quotes. So in this case, the attribute is href equals, and then the value between the double quotes is the URL or web address that you want to send visitors to your site to when they click on your link. The link is the text that you type between the opening and closing A tag. A also requires a closing tag. So I've typed NASA website here, and the URL or web address to NASA's website is in between the quotes. You can see that there is actually a link down here to NASA website. When I click on it, it should take us to the NASA website. So I want to right click that and open it in a new tab, and it is taking us to NASA's website. So that worked. So great. So next, let's look at HTML lists, structured lists. Now there are three types of lists, but I'm only going to show two here, only because the third type of list is not used very often. Even though it is valuable to use, it's not used particularly often. And the third type of list is called a definition list, or a DL tag. But the two that I'm going to look at are ordered lists and unordered lists. So unordered lists are your basic bullet list, where you have bullets next to each of the text items. And ordered lists are ABC 1, 2, 3, Roman numerals 1, 2, 3. They're lists that indicate some order, meaning one after the other. Unordered lists, it doesn't matter in which order they appear, it's up to you. The purpose of lists is to structure like items together, to give them meaning in that they are grouped together purposefully as a list of things that are associated with each other. So you wouldn't want to create a list item of things that aren't directly related in some way, or that you haven't made related by the way in which you've associated them on the page. So the way that works is, the way that unordered lists work is they open with a UL tag and are closed with a /UL tag. Ordered lists are the same, opening with an OL, closing with a /OL. So UL for unordered list, OL for ordered list. All lists, within these two types anyway, contain what are called list items, or LI tags, which also are closed with /LI closing tags. So with all of the elements that I've shown you in this lesson, they all require a matching closing tag. So what I recommend that you do is that you play around with these different types of items. Again, headings, paragraphs, anchors, which have an href attribute which equals the web address you want to send site visitors to, and text between the tags to display your link. And then ordered and unordered lists. So in this case, UL with nested list items and OL with nested list items. These are all placed within the opening and closing body tags, which makes them display content on the page.